This episode is for you. If you really want to have an extraordinary second half of life with deep self love, deep love with others, and you're wondering how you're getting in your own way, how the past and the old stuff might still be impacting you. And we've got some amazing tools to teach you and have you inspired because I got Shakti in the house. I got Shakti Batazi in the house. House. Say hi, say hi, say hi.
My goodness, it's so good to be with you every time we get together. It's just fun and uplifting, and it's just a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh my God, I just love you. We are soul sisters. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit of the story, and then we're going to dive in because if you're not getting the results in love that you desire, if you're not feeling the love for yourself and others, if you're just kind of wonky, struggling in some way, there's some amazing information that's going to be downloaded for you. Shakti is a modern day medicine woman. She has studied the spiritual path for decades with masters from the Eastern philosophies, as well as masters in Andean, Jesuit, and Native American traditions. Shakti also has over 30 years of high level corporate experience. She's a Fulbright Scholar, motivational speaker, and certified coach. And she's incorporated her wisdom into a vast repertoire of tools to create her unique transmission and body of work. And those who work with her become empowered to expand their spiritual gifts and trust their intuition, experience healing transformation, and become deeply connected to their own soul's path to lead a life of inspired action, purpose, passion, and prosperity. Take a breath into all of that. That's who you have the blessing of listening to today. And I get to have her in my life because she is a friend and a colleague, but a friend, a soul sister. Um, and I will say that I was following her before we ever even met. I found her on the internet and went, this lady's got the chops, the heart, the insight. And then we ended up in a similar contain well, not a similar
Mm,
container, a business
mm.
container that we got to play together with. And then we've just become such dear friends. So I love you, and I'm just so proud of who you are and what you bring to the world, and I'm so thrilled to share your wisdom with our listeners and watchers today.
Wow, thank you for that intro. Woo! Big shoes to
Yeah.
fill.
Well deserved. Well deserved. You know, I see you work it. I see you walk your talk. I see you make such a huge impact in other people's lives. And today we're talking primarily to women. I'm sure I have some guys here too that are wanting that deep soul healing, you know? And I know that you guide people in the healing realms. So let's just go right to it. Like, how does unhealed trauma and past wounds impact somebody's ability to attract and receive love? Because all that stuff that is not healed is definitely showing up in different ways. So how do you guide them for that shift?
Well, that question is so deep, and also I am seeing the result of that question in my latest work, which is helping especially women with their body connection and healing of that trauma so that they can live in the body they desire. But it is very connected to the love and the ability to attract your desired love for midlife,
Mm.
young life, older life. It's not really related to an age. And what I have discovered is that I used to think that I had to bring my body of work in continuously new and different ways until I actually discovered that it takes a lot of repetition of the exact same thing for people to be able to absorb it and really bring transformation into their lives. And this question you asked, is about truly all of the conditioning and internalized self judgment that we go through from age 0 to 7 in our families of origin or whatever happened in our lives. Some of us were not lucky enough to have a family of origin at the time, or, we were in foster care or adopted or other things that happened. And then from 7 to 14, more or less socialized in the schools. We get out into the world, and we have teachers and we have friends or not friends, that condition us. And through those crucial years of our lives, 0 to 14, not only we receive this conditioning from outside and these cues that lead us to create this persona that we think it is the way we need to be and do so that we can be loved and accepted, because we internalize those cues in the way in which we interpret them to be that if we are not that way and don't show up in the way we believe we are being asked to, we're not going to be loved and we're going to be left out.
Yeah,
And
and that's what little kids do. I mean, we need our parents. We're vulnerable. I mean, my mother just had a look, just a look. And that look,
I love that.
from my perspective, the story I made up in my little being was she doesn't love me anymore. So I better be really careful and I better try really hard and never mess up again. And a perfectionist was born.
Yes, and I love that you say that because I have the same, by the way. But I later, for example, that example with your mom, my mom had this absent look whenever I shared things from school. Literally, this look,
Mm.
I'm going to do it on screen, but for those hearing, you won't see me. But nonetheless, was this look like this?
Yeah, like a spaced out look, like not even
Spaced out
presence.
look. And I learned many years later, I mean, she's about to turn 100, by the way. So
Wow.
when I say many years later, I mean many years later, that at the time in which I was 8, 9, 10, she was going through a super harsh time in her life. And she wasn't tuning out of me. She was just in such pain that she was trying to figure out how to live minute by minute. It just happened that I was there and I was 8 and I was believing that she didn't care, that I wasn't being seen. And the truth is I wasn't being seen, but not because I was wrong, but
Yeah.
because there was no room because she was barely surviving. So it,
Exactly.
it,
It had
it
nothing to do with you, but you made a story up as a little girl.
exactly.
Ah, yeah.
And, we're talking about quote unquote for fairly common things right now, but there's also real trauma. And I mean, I say real very loosely, but there's these traumas that are big headlines, right? Physically abused, emotionally abused, sexually abused, growing up with a drug addict. I mean, there's things that are commonly accepted to be trauma.
Big
Like,
T, big
at big
T.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I want to make sure the listener understands is that big T, small t is equal T for
It's
us.
a T. It's a T. You still got tea.
Yes. And
And
it's
it's not the Lipton kind, you know?
yeah, and it conditions and it
Yeah.
has conditioned for the most part
Yeah.
who we are and how we show up in the world. So fast forward to finish the answer, because that was like a preface to the answer,
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
we, through those cues, not only show up in life not being authentically who we are, which leads us to attract the wrong people because we're attracting the people to the mask of who we are, which is not who we are. Therefore, those people who are attracted by our mask are not really fulfilling our needs. We need to remove those masks to authentically be us. And then who will be magnetized by who we are, then for sure we'll have more fun, number one. But most importantly is that we carry those masks because inside we have this conversation, this self-judgment about I don't look good. There's other women prettier than me. I'm too old. I'm too fat. I'm too thin. I'm too tall. I'm too dark. I'm too blonde, whatever.
Yep,
Right?
yep, the
Yeah, all
list.
of it.
Mhm,
I'm not worthy. I'm not enough.
mhm.
I can't even, right, begin.
Yeah.
So trauma absolutely determines how we are unable or able to attract that perfect partner, man, woman, doesn't matter, right? Because we need to be able to access that vulnerable authenticity, our essence, I call it.
Yeah.
And when we can show up in our lives vulnerable and with that essence, then the right person comes along. And I would say 99.9% of the time, there's work to be done for us to be able to show up that
For
way.
all of us. And I mean, you're laying down such good stuff here. You know, we think about that first date. And if both people have masks on, you don't get to know each other, but everybody's putting their best foot forward and let me be the way I need to be so I'm safe and loved and I won't be left and all of that. And this is all happening in the unconscious realm. It's not even conscious. It's just this is the wiring, as you said, that we picked up when we were kids. We're, you know, you and I have the same language, different modalities, but same language. And so it's not surprising that in 6 months or a year, people go, "Oh my god, like, I hate this person," you know, because suddenly you start to kinda chill out, the masks come down, and then the real person shows up, and you were attracted to the mask and not the truth. And then the real masks not the masks, but the authentic self shows up, but it's blurry. It's not,
There's a
like, tuned
mismatch.
in. It's not tuned in. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It is, as you were saying it right now, for some reason, I was totally seeing the all the world's a stage,
Yeah.
all the world's a stage. And I was seeing the two people in the restaurant being on a stage, right?
Yeah.
We think
Yeah.
we have to be these actors or actresses.
Yeah.
And by not showing up authentically, like you say, when the actual authenticity is coming through from life
Right.
and being together more months, we realize that maybe we don't have anything in common. Maybe values are not even the same.
Exactly, and we just didn't look in those directions. We didn't wanna see them. It was too risky, and as you said, to be vulnerable, to be open intimacy, if you and, you know, the
You
people that come to this, you know,
know,
that
never heard it. Into
oh,
me.
oh, wow, yes, yes, intimacy. Some people say, "Into me you see," but intimacy, yeah, and for us to have those juicy, deep, loving relationships that go the distance, to have that connection that we all crave, we got to show up being able to let down those walls, put down the masks, and go, this is who I am. And I'm not going to apologize for who I am. And this is me in my aligned true self. And when you show, and this I say this to all my clients, when you show up in that way, on your profile, when you talk to people on those dates, they're seeing you and you get to see them because you're pulling in somebody very different than the shadow side, the unhealed side, the part that we're talking about that's been like, let me not be like that because mom didn't like me or mom left me or mom was spacing out and not paying attention to me. So let me be this way. Well, if we bring it into all our adult relationships, how is that gonna play out? It's not gonna go well.
Yeah. You're just reminding me of this moment of I'm currently married, belated to my beloved, to my soulmate. And we've been together, it'll be 16 years in a couple of months. And I was just remembering that one of those traumas showed up in my life in this way. When there was something missing, a hole energetically, somebody not stepping up to the plate for whatever reason in whatever aspect. I was so afraid because of my early trauma of that not being fulfilled that I would jump in and fix it and do it and take action. And in terms of a relationship, it would mean me being the one saying, "Hey, let's go out. I love you. I like you. Whatever." Right? It would be me taking that initiative. And on my third time around, because he's my third, okay,
Three's the charm.
able to realize that that wasn't serving me well. And I had done a lot of work. And it was fascinating because he's 5 years younger than me. I was divorced with two children, international woman in Italy in a small town. He was from the small town and single, never married, and never really had a long, long relationship. And we
Wow, I
started
didn't know
dating,
that.
was the one leading the relationship. Oh, let's go for coffee, coffee in the morning, like nothing really special. Like for a month, every time he would like knock on my window, hey, coffee this
Aw.
morning? He's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Then that led to, should we go for a dinner with my friends? So we would be in like 10 people in a house and having dinner. And yeah, he invited me and fine. And, little by little. And this went on for like 2 months, and it was always very generic. There was not like, let's go for dinner, you and I, on a Saturday night. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It was a Thursday
yeah.
or whatever. So I was chomping at the bit, and I had a moment where I thought, I'll just tell him. I can feel the energy. And then I saw myself and I said to myself, that won't fulfill me because this time around, I'm ready to be chosen. He
Mm,
wants me and he chooses me, then I will know for sure. And if he doesn't, he doesn't, and I will know for sure. And nonetheless, it'll be the perfect outcome.
yeah.
And I held back. And immediately after that, he invited me for dinner, and we had a lot of conversations about what a partnership would look like. Those good precursors to a real good thing.
Yes.
About love, very
Important conversations.
yes, yes. And then eventually he did take the first step. And um, it was amazing for me because
Yeah.
even after that first step, it took him like 3 months to, which is not really a lot, but to fully commit to, okay, I want to see your kids or, whatever the next step was. But to this day, I'm so happy I did that because it was an absolute certainty that he chose me.
Love that, and you changed your pattern. You saw the pattern, you changed the pattern. You did the work. I mean, that's the thing. It's like people come to me and they tell me their past history and they help me with my profile. Help me with my profile. I'm like, we'll get there.
That's all here, right? That's all the makeup.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get there. Like, who are you being? How are you showing up? What's in the recesses of your mind that might have you over controlling, over pushing, over giving, abandoning, And so inside of us, when we're scared of having that happen again, we have another version of ourselves. And when you could break that cycle, which is, what we do for our clients, it's gold. And I just love that you caught that. And, it makes me think of my honey. I've always wanted somebody who can really be in their power and really show up fully for me. I have been a micromanaging, controlling, like let me understand that they're just not I mean, I'm totally gonna like throw myself under the bus here. Like they're just not as evolved as me. They haven't done as much work as me. So let me just be so understanding that blah blah blah. And so what happens is I abandoned myself over and over through the years until I stopped that and said, no, I need to be me and I need to let them be them. And if I don't like how they are, then, well, good to know, but
Oh my
I'm not gonna
goodness, we're
date a
touching gold.
potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love what you just said because that thing, good to know, right? You want to
Yes.
know, and you want to
Yes.
know the earlier the
I
possible.
was just gonna say that too. It's like, do you really wanna wait 2 years to go, "Oh, I don't like him?"
No, waste
You
of
know?
time, painful, no.
Oh my god, I think about some of the hoops I jumped through in order to make the relationship work, and that's why I do this work because it is friggin' painful, and there's so much challenge and time that's wasted, and so I love that story, and I will share one quick thing, pretty soon out the gate with my honey, I mean, we knew right away that we were meant to be, we were so soulmates, like, spot on, and I remember this infamous moment where he said, I have deleted all my apps, and I would like you to delete your apps too. And I had always wanted, again, for someone to like claim me, choose me, have me feel so wanted, loved, and adored. Right, right,
Yeah.
chills, you know. And what was funny was I closed them off and got them off my phone. And he said, "Did you delete them? Did you delete the material?" And all the stuff. And I almost lost my breath. I was like, my thought was, but if I delete it all, I lose all the stuff that I created. But what was that about? That's me playing safe and having one foot out the door.
My
Like,
God, that's
well,
huge.
this may not work out. Do I really want to delete all of my stuff? And then, of course, I'm doing this in real time and I have the tools. And I just was like, oh my God, I'm in scarcity thinking. I'm in fear mode. I'm in over controlling. It's like surrender, surrender, surrender. I love this man. And wow, talk about jumping off a cliff. But
Surrender and trust.
and that's what
Trust.
I'm gonna say. I jumped off the cliff, but I knew I had the parachute. I had myself and I have a great guy, but I had myself and I had deep self love. And I knew I was taking care of myself in such a huge way.
My
Huge
gosh, I
way.
love that. And also because you have you. You can rebuild the material if you need to in the future, right? Like, and it'll be a different you because 5 years down the road or
I'm
10.
gonna be a different me, you know, and I do see this relationship being like the one. I've never been so aligned. I've never been so sure. You know, the universe will do its thing, but for now, in this moment, I'm like, wow, I've never been such a full yes, and we're soulmates. But I will say that the a big piece aside from the big T, little T, and all the stuff that I did to empty out, it was my deep self love. It was me knowing that I had my own back. And I know people really struggle with self love. I mean, a lot of people say, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. But
Truly,
ultimately, they have some pieces that are not necessarily working together. What would you say is what's the deal around the self love thing from your perspective? And what can people do?
say there's two layers I would love to address. One is, again, more of a makeup layer. I love myself. I take care of myself. I go to the masseuse. I do my hair. I do my nails, that kind of thing.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's needed for sure. But love yourself. Am I choosing myself? Am I respecting myself? And in so doing, giving out the vibration for every other person to respect me in the exact same way.
Right.
And I think that is where those deeper layers, certain people are not even aware they're carrying that pain not resolved because they have the outside layer of loving themselves. They're pretty good. They probably look pretty good. They take care of themselves, go to the gym, blah, blah, blah. But when confronted with the ultimate proof, and actually, I have another example which brings it to understanding
Yeah.
in a bigger way. 3 months into the relationship with my beloved, um, it was vacation time, and he was used to going on vacation with his other single friends and going on vacations where it was all about women and, going out to look for women and stuff. And internationally, they would travel. And their friends were organizing one of these vacations. And he was like, oh, yeah, he had already planned on going on it before we began, going out. And again, I said, okay, if this guy decides to go on this vacation, for me, that's stepping all over me. And I don't want to know anything about this.
Mhm.
But do I want to push this issue? Absolutely no. Because again, I respect myself beyond this. And if this is real, he will, by his own understanding, understand that that is inappropriate. And one day he was saying about going on the vacation, all of that. And I said, okay, just let me know your decision. I want to know what you decide. He's like, why? What do you think? I'm like, no, I don't think anything. I'm not going to tell you what to do or not to do. You know in your heart where you
Mm.
stand and what's important for you. And I stood back. I was amazed at myself, by the way, at doing that.
Big, big, round of applause.
It was
Yes, for
amazing.
sure. That's
But
huge.
I was standing in that respect of self love. I'm
Yeah.
not going to beg because if I have to beg, I don't want to have him. And I'm not going to ask. I'm
Yeah.
not going to control because that was, again, just like you. No, you don't need to go. Don't go. He wouldn't have gone if I had said, right? But do I want that relationship? Do I want to establish a relationship when I'm the mother or the controlling? Like,
Yep.
no,
Yeah.
And sure enough, it took him 24 hours. He called his friends and then came home and told me, hey, I told them I'm not going. I realized that is like not where I want to be, even because I had decided I was going and not going out with women. But then why am I even going? So no, I choose
Good.
you.
So he got to have his own journey. He had you in his life and you didn't have to make it happen. You just showed up and he saw what he had and that he was in a different place. So, oh
But
my
he was
God.
able to do it on his own, right?
Yeah.
And this happened in our relationship several times. And I think at the begin, I know at the beginning I was ahead in my own inner wisdom, let's call it.
Mhm.
And he's told me so many times he's so grateful for how I allowed him to step up on
Mm.
his own and of his own volition and not controlling the journey. Looking back and looking at what we have, and we are like, there's not a doubt, that we are
Yeah.
meant to be together and we rejoice in our togetherness. But it took several of these self love, self respect, deep moments. And
Yeah.
back to the answer is yes, you may have self love. But does it go all the way? Or are there some corners there that, in an example like the one I gave, would have jumped into the controlling, hey, you can't go, I don't want to go, or any other direction for the fear of what if he goes away,
Yeah,
right?
and that's the thing I wanna hop on right now, which is what I see often are women that have the fear running them, and then they try to control, try to be the mother, to orchestrate the result that they think is the best result. Like, "No, I don't want you to go on that trip because you're in a relationship with what right now, and that's not how I wanna be treated," and blah, blah, and, like, that creates drama and it also emasculates. It doesn't have him get to really drop in and go, you know what? I'm in a different place right now to honor you, to show up for you fully. And so when we're run from our fear, when that fear, that unconscious, like, oh gosh, I don't want this to happen again, that's when we show up in a way that hurts the relationship. And men do not want to be controlled. Men want to be themselves.
Women don't
We
want
want
to
to
be
be adored
controlled.
and appreciated. They want to be accepted for who they are. And when we do the mommy shit on them, that's just not cool. Or the over controlling shit on them, that's not cool. So, these are the reasons we do the work that we do to help people heal. And I know that you've shared with me that there are spiritual keys to cultivating true self love before finding a partner. That's what we're talking about because we don't want to be in a partnership where we're like, oh, I don't have it. Now I've got to like backpedal and figure it out because that's where damage is done in relationships. Can you share a little bit about the spiritual keys?
Yes. So, we can go about everything in life from the material side of things. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. We're in a body which has five senses, and the more juicy and sensual things are, the more joy we will have. So we absolutely want that aspect. But the truth is also that we have an aspect of ourselves where we can center into that spiritual side of who we are, which is as if it uplifts the whole relationship to a new realm of exchange because it is where we recognize and see the other's person's essence, not how they do and be, which just seeing how they be is a big up leveling. But when you can connect to that spiritual aspect, when you can see, and I realize that we may be touching on belief systems here, but when you can see that we are a spark of creation and that we have that divine spark within us, and that in that essence, we are perfectly the way we are because there can't be anything more perfecting the perfect more perfect than creation, and we are this spirit being exploring the world in this body. When we give room to that aspect of ourselves to shine through, and the other person does too, then the connection
Ah,
becomes
yeah.
total,
divine.
there's totality, and there's that
Yeah.
totality. I'm getting chills that in the exchange, when you come together physically, even, it's just the expansion. It's unexplainable because you are connecting at physical, mind, and spirit. And
Yeah.
it's just, and it leads you to become, to hold the other in the love so that they can become
Mm.
this beautiful expression of who they are.
So
That
how do you suggest doing that? Because conceptually, people are like, of course, that makes sense. I want to see them as the divine, see myself as the divine, and connect in this beautiful, perfect way. And it's not necessarily the easiest for people to do. So, what are your tips on that?
so I will start by the end. We know we attract essentially something that matches our own vibration, right? Someone, not, and some things too. Things and people and all kinds of aspects of manifestation in our lives. So, obviously, the first thing is to work on yourself and to step up into your own path of awakening, of connection with source of creation, whatever you may call it. It's not religion wise that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the aspect in which spirit shows up through you. And in order to expand that, it is important that we have a moment of the day where we give room for that to expand, just like we go to the gym to make our body be fitter, and just like we take time with our loved ones so that the relationships can endure, we take time with our own inner higher self or spirit self, whatever you want to call it, on a daily basis. And we can do that in many ways. By the way, there's a handout on my website that is about creating a morning ritual where you can choose when it touches aspects of the soul, the mind, the heart, and the body, because all of those are aspects of expanding the spiritual aspect. It's not just, oh, the soul meditation. It's not just that. There's so much more to that. And to really feed into that willingness to know that subtle aspect of who we are and to make enough of a quiet space to be able to listen to that inner beautiful self, which
Yeah.
speaks in a very quiet voice.
Yeah. Creating space, really quiet, stillness. It is so not built into our culture. And we haven't been taught it. We haven't had it modeled. We've had the complete opposite modeled. And, I know for me, I meditate every single day. And it's in the morning. I mean, I have high hopes to do it, in the evening too. And sometimes I hit it, but it's the whole day that I wanna impact, and having that time and sometimes I don't hit the amount of time that I love. I usually do an hour plus meditation in the morning,
Wow.
but sometimes it's a 15 minute, and hey, there have been days where it's like, "Oh my god, I gotta get out of the house." I will take 5 minutes and I will just put my hand on my heart. Typically, I do a very specific kind of meditation, and it is food for my soul. It is a reminder of who I truly am. It is plugging in. It's like if I want the lamp to work, you got to put it in the outlet. And if I don't plug myself in, I am not going to be shining my unique beautiful self. I'm going to be running on old fumes.
Yeah.
So I love that, really creating time to cultivate that connection and to listen deeply.
For
Yeah.
me, is I call it filling my cup before I open myself to the world. Like literally, I'm not turning on the phone. It's not disturbed until I'm done doing my whole morning ritual. Yes,
Mhm.
I do understand I'm a spiritual teacher, so I have a couple of hours minimum of morning ritual, which doesn't mean couple of hours of meditation. It can be meditation, movement, a combination of journaling, talking to my guides, all kinds of things. I vary. And that's why the handout is so fun because it actually shows you how many different activities you can put in there. And there's moments of my life where I need more meditation and less activity, and other times where I'm being called to move my body more and tune into spirit through the movement of the body as opposed to the stillness, and it varies, right? But what I have learned is that if particularly well, you do too, we give so much, right? We are coaches. We are helping others. So we're present in life offering that help, right? So it's never more important than that to fill your cup so that you can give from that full cup that runs over as opposed to give and if old fumes, like you say. But that is true too for a mother, for a wife, for a daughter, for a sister. This is not just, and for a partner, a beloved, right? This is
Yeah.
true for everybody. You have to feel that you are cool and full in your cup of self love and self respect and self peace and whatever you want to call it, so that you can say, okay, world, bring it on. And then I
And
turn,
you feel so free when you're able to be in that place,
yeah.
to show up.
Yeah, because there's energy to do it. There's life force to do it
Mhm.
because you've nourished yourself at that level, right? Just like you would have a healthy breakfast to be able to run the morning, of your life with that nourishment. The same thing is this for life. You nourish your soul, body, spirit, mind, heart so that you can run the day with that nourishment.
Yeah. So good, so good. So we're definitely gonna put your website in the show notes so they can get that handout. What are they looking for again? What did you say it was?
So on my website, there's a little tab that says gifts, and there's two meditations and this handout. You can download
Oh,
them all.
beautiful,
Different
beautiful.
meditations. One of them is to align your energy for the day. And it's awesome. People tell me that they do it every day, and it's just like great guidance to get them going. But this handout is Mindfulness Morning Success Kit. And it's a kit because it also comes with a bonus tracker, which is a little booklet where you can track what you're doing for like a month so that you
Love
see
it.
what works for you.
That's so good. Accountability, whether it's with a partner or just seeing
Right.
progress.
You figure it out yourself. You may think you're doing something, and if you don't
Exactly.
track it, you're like, oh my gosh, I was doing this other different thing and I didn't realize.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
good, so good. Uh, I love our conversation. I mean,
Same here.
if there was one broad stroke, it's heal, trust,
Yeah.
and love. It's like we
Yes.
need to unpack, we need to let go of the crap that's the little t or the stuff we accumulated and open up our hearts and love ourselves so that we can really have the extraordinary in our life. I love our conversation.
Freedom.
Say again?
Freedom is the result.
Absolutely, and that's my number 1 Yahoo
Yeah.
word, that I was born with, and the less I am afraid of what other people think or doing the wrong thing or all the programming, I can just say that I'm like I'm so fearless. I friggin' love my life, and I know how wonderful it feels, and even in relationship, as much as I love this man and we're so amazing, I'm still fearless. I know I'm fine no matter what. And that's what we both are doing. We both want to give people the tools to have this freedom. So thank you for any last words before we go for this person who wants the extraordinary in life.
I would say, yeah, trust that you are beautiful. Once you release all of the layers of conditioning, you
Yeah.
will find the most beautiful being inside when you find yourself.
Perfection. Perfection. We're just beautiful divine
There you
lights.
are.
And
Yeah.
any thought that has us thinking anything other than that, it is just a thought. Thoughts are not real, they're just a thought.
Worry.
And we picked it up somewhere along the way. Well, sister, thank you for being here as
Thanks for
always.
having me.
Love chatting with you. And hey, for those of you that are listening or watching, please subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. Share it with your friends. This is how more people will find us online, especially on the YouTube channel. And you could put comments below. I always forget to say that. Put comments below. I'll be checking it out, and I'll
I'll be
I'll let
checking it out.
Shakti know if there's something there for her to respond to. And just keep pulling back the layers, do the healing work, and remember what happened in the past does not have to define you. You can create a whole new reality. One more thing before you go. Have you taken my Discover Your Love Avatar quiz? It's a 2-minute quiz that can help you not only know your strengths, your superpower because you have one, also identify some of your blind spots, some of the things that might be having you in your fear, having you behaving in ways that aren't in alignment with your highest self, the way you want to be when it comes to dating and relationships. And it'll also help you discover why maybe the stars haven't lined up for you yet. Bottom line is, you take this 2-minute quiz, you get a full report in your email with details on how to move forward in next level love, whether you want a partner or not. So you can go to midlifeloveoutloud.com/love quiz. The link is in the show notes as well. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to the station, I'm going to encourage you to do that too, so you don't miss any episodes. And I hope you got a ton out of today's. See you next week. Mwah.